everyone. Welcome to a special edition of Interviews with The Voice. My name is Kinaya Gibson. I am the Arts and Culture Editor for The Voice and the Assistant Studio Manager for Bronco TV. I'm a Communications and Media Studies major with a minor in creative and professional writing. But today I have some guy who is making waves into our federal government. He is trailblazing in diplomatic security, and I'm sitting out here with Gentry O. Smith, the Assistant Secretary of State for Diplomatic Security.
Thank you very much, Kinaya. It is a pleasure being here. I thank you to the Broncos for giving me this opportunity to come and tell more about the Diplomatic Security Service and the Bureau of Diplomatic Security. I'm really excited to be here on the campus of Delaware State today and look forward to our conversation.
No, and just with that, as you say, we're going to jump right on into it today. So what specific initiatives or programs does the Office of Diplomatic Security have in place to recruit and support students from HBCUs?
Well, the Bureau of Diplomatic Security is the law enforcement and security wing of the U.S. Department of State. We serve both domestically and abroad. We're in 250 locations around the world and over 170 countries around the world. That's at our embassies and our consulates. As you can imagine, being in that many locations around the world, we're dealing with people from multiple cultures, from multiple backgrounds, and the ways in which we can interface with those persons in those locations, both government and person to person, showing what we're doing as we set forth U.S. foreign policy. We want to make sure that we're representative of what the United States is. Secretary of State Blinken has been very direct and stated, we want a department that looks like America. In order to do that, we need to be throughout America finding persons who are very much qualified to do this job. They can represent their government. One of the reasons that we're here is because I know, I'm from North Carolina. I'm very familiar with all of our HBCUs here, and I know of the quality of individuals and persons who study here and what they can contribute. And I think that is an area that has been undersought for talent and for conversations, but I want to make sure that we pay attention to that, and that's why we're here today.
And I think my next question would be, what about your background drew you to the Department of State?
I attended North Carolina State University. I'm a political science major. I have always had a strong interest in global affairs and activities around the world. I was a police officer in Raleigh, North Carolina, so I had a law enforcement background. And I've also had a strong interest in other national security interests. So a friend of mine one day told me a while ago about a new entity that was being created at the U.S. Department of State. And when he told me about what the job entailed, he actually stated, Gentry, this job was made for you. Yeah. And as we talked about it, absolutely. This checked all the boxes of my interests and the fact that I was already in law enforcement, so it was a perfect match.
So it became a passion. It became something that you just don't feel like, oh, just doing your job, just trying to get a check. It's something that you enjoy doing.
I do. I really do. I feel that the work that we do within the Bureau of Diplomatic Security, the Diplomatic Security Service, really does impact our national policy. We support our colleagues who are out there on the front lines with U.S. diplomacy around the world.
So I've talked to professors, and I was letting her know, I said, oh, I'm having this interview, and I'm talking with someone from the state and working in diplomatic security, and she was like, honestly, as a professor in my 40s, I honestly don't really, I can't say I know what that is. So for someone who really has never heard of Department of State or diplomatic security, if you could put in like the most elementary level way of explaining it, how would you explain it?
Well, if I started with the Department of State, the Department of State is the U.S. government's special office for engaging with countries around the world.
Right.
We are the State Department has a responsibility for putting forth U.S. foreign policy. Some countries we engage on a bilateral level, then we also engage with, special agreements that we have through coalition and alliances with multiple countries.
Right.
And so we are going to be that element. So with that, how do we do that securely?
Right.
That's where my job comes in. As the Assistant Secretary for Diplomatic Security, our responsibility is to protect our people, protect our national security information, and to protect our facilities.
Okay, great. So my next question would be, college students often get caught up in having linear plans for their careers in life and when they graduate. How did unexpected opportunities or developments in your career challenge you to what you once foresaw yourself kind of doing, or how has openness to these new opportunities helped shape your career?
I think that one should be open
Right.
to their careers. Where you are right now, and studying, studying to get your degree, that's actually, that's what, one should be doing.
Right.
You want to have that flavor for what a college education will provide for you. And a lot of times we do go down that rabbit hole very quickly. I'm studying subject X, or I'm going to get my degree in this, and this is the only thing that's available to me in life. I would challenge someone to broaden that spectrum, quite a bit. And it does not matter your field of study. I have persons, that I work with every day who I'm going to study this form of engineering X here because these are the three things that I can do. And now, because of what they've been exposed to, they understand that there's a world of opportunities that are available to them. And so that, I always tell people go broad before you go deep.
Right. So what recommendations would you make to students who want to pursue a career in the Department of State or maybe the federal government in a more broad sense?
Okay, so number one is complete your education because that's step number one. And I will always put out there for the Department of State, you can go to careers.state.gov. And all of the various opportunities throughout the State Department are always on that website of jobs that are available. And there is no entity within the U.S. Department of State. We have like 41 bureaus that operate within the U.S. Department of State. Everybody's looking for talent. Everybody's looking for talent. You can also go to USA Jobs for broader job opportunities within the government, writ large. Again, talent, everybody is seeking talent. There are I think there are lots of incentives these days that were not available in the past. And one of the things that has been most refreshing to me as I've done this, and I make it my responsibility to engage with many colleges and universities, is have that conversation with students about what is your interest in public service. And I'm heartened by the fact that even today, with everything that we've experienced over the past few years, there is still a hunger for government/public service. And we want great people. And I know there are great people here, and I want my share of them.
And we're glad you're here looking for it.
Thank you. Thank you.
You've had a lot of assignments during your career. You've traveled, you've seen the world. What is the most interesting assignment you feel that you've had? I particularly would love to hear the one about.
Well, I'm glad you set that up there. Well, sometimes I get asked, what's been your favorite place to Cairo? Cairo is always going to be probably at the top of our list because I was there with with family. We were assigned there, and because we were assigned there on two separate occasions, I think it's special to us. First because it was my first assignment abroad. Had never traveled abroad before getting assigned to Cairo. But the experiences that we had there, my professional engagement with my Egyptian counterparts, where we were all very young in our careers, just resonated, and we just built a friendship, and both on the professional and personal level that still remains today. And then to go back there 10 years later in a much more senior position, and those same buddies that I used to run around with when I was there before, now they are leading their organizations. And so to walk off the plane knowing the level of credibility that I had, and also the fact that I could reach out to them when I needed to because of what our responsibilities were, and make just really big requests. You know, I need 50 more of your people to make sure that we're covered at location X, and they're like, okay, they're on the way. And, you know, so having that, so Cairo, it's here. It's here.
No, I love that. And I love how you've been able to go to different places, but I know there's also challenges as far as like different cultures and language barriers and communications. How did you prep necessarily knowing that you were going to have to experience different cultures that you said you've never really been exposed to before? And a lot of students, they don't get a chance to even really come out of North Carolina and other things. So yeah, how would you break those barriers for yourself?
Yeah, first of all, I think you have to have that hunger. I think having that interest in learning about, experiencing, and being open to be exposed to multiple cultures is something that you should bring with you in the job. You never have to give up who you are, because they are as interested in you as you are in them. And having understanding that when you're out there. I understand that when we're on the ground, I never want to go local. I'm an American. I'm a black American from the U.S. But that's of interest to a lot of people around the world because they have heard some form of that story. And just that interaction, that engagement with me, they will a lot of times leave saying, you're nothing like what we had expected. And at the same time, we have heard the same things. That if you're going to this location there, they may eat you or something that crazy, but it's out there. Let's just be honest, it's out there. And then actually understanding, oh, well, they're people too. And we're going to find out we have a lot of shared experiences, things that resonate around the world, family, food, everybody likes to eat, sports, another, you may not know anything about rugby, but if you hang out over in that area long enough, you begin to understand, there are persons as rabid about that rugby team as we are about the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, no, he had to
Okay.
I'm sorry for your loss this season. We'll try again next.
Thank you very much, and go Broncos.
Thank you. So what do you think is appropriate role of the U.S. diplomacy overseas?
I think that we are the world leaders, and we're in that position. We've been in that position for quite a while, and it is not something that we can advocate. There are others who look to us for that engagement. They want our ideas. Democracy, in the way that we practice democracy, has never been done in this way, and the world is watching. And so that is something that is of interest to a lot of people, and they expect our leadership and engagement within that realm. And so that is our responsibility.